Hi guys, what's up? This is the third video of the monolith-to-microservice project for Golang. I know in the last video, in the second video, we didn't achieve much. We were just setting up our project structure, and that video probably was boring for you because we obviously didn't do much. But here, I'll make it up to you. So here what we'll do is, in our monolith, right, main.go file, we had done a little bit of outline code. We won't continue this right now. We'll start directly with our microservices, all right? Because once you start building this microservices, you start understanding what we're doing for orders, what we're doing for shop, and then all of that comes together in a monolith. All right. If you just do monolith right now directly, it might confuse you. So let's start piece by piece. Let's go with orders. All right. So let me create some code for the orders. Here it's the main file, right? So it'll be package main. You'll import some things. I'm going to type a bit fast because I want to get more covered here, because I want to create the outline for this orders function as well as for the shop function, right? I want to do both of those in this video, which should be under 15 minutes because I have to rush for a meeting quickly, all right? So, and obviously if you think I'm going too fast, you can slow down the video like to 0.75x or something. It's better than having a slow video that you have to speed up. So here the first thing I want to say in my func main is starting the orders microservice. All right. So the first thing that happens when this program starts for the orders microservice, it says starting the orders microservice. That's what it says. All right. And here I'm going to have my context package. So I'll say cmd.context. Sorry for the wrong spelling. So it's cmd.context, and here you'll say ctx. All right. We've been using context packages since a very long time, so I'm pretty sure you already know how that works. And we'll have a function called create order microservice. This is going to be the main function. I mean, obviously func main is the main function, but from func main, the control goes to create order microservice. So this function is going to be quite critical to our program, and we're going to work on it in some time. And here it's going to return two things, right? So it's be close fn and r, right? Here you'll say defer close fn, and you'll create a server. Now for every microservice there's a different server running on a different port, right? You know that already, I've told you. So for orders we'll have a different server running on a different port. So here you'll use the http.server package, and the server function to create a server running on a different port. How do you create it? You need a port address, right? So you'll use the get environment package, get environment function, it belongs to the OS package. I mean the get environment function. We've already used it so many times in our previous videos. Here we'll have a variable in our environment file called shop orders service binding address. It'll be most like 8070 or something like that. All right. And the handler that you want to use to handle it will be r, that you just got from here from this function. All right. So this function basically creates our microservice and returns a router handler, which is used by the server, this variable, right, which is basically starting a new server on this binding address. All right. So here we'll have a routine server.listen and serve error not equal to http dot capital RE error server closed, and you'll panic if there's an issue, and you'll call this function here. And then we'll just have ctx.done, and basically this is all we're doing to close the microservice. So we'll say closing order microservice. If you stop it, it will gracefully shut it down. All right. So it's basically this listens for any canceling event, something like that. So if error is equal to server.close error not equal to nil, we'll panic error. All right. Here obviously the things that you need, some of them are fmt, then you need log, and you need os, and you obviously know that you need net/http. All right. And now we want to work on this function, the create order microservice function. We won't complete it, but we'll work on it for now at least a little bit. So we'll say create order microservice. This function doesn't take anything, right? As you can see, it doesn't take anything, completely empty, but it does return two things. It returns the router. So as I told you, we are using CHI router instead of Gengonic, just to keep some variety in this particular program. Otherwise you'll get bored and you'll stop watching my videos, so I keep changing all the routers and different frameworks. I try to use use more and more different frameworks. All right, so here, as you can see, here returning R, which is the router, and close fn, which is the function. You're returning these two things from here. So here you'll say cmd dot wait for service. So this will be a function that we need to create. Os dot get environment, and like I told you, we'll have RabbitMQ to communicate between the microservices. So we'll say RabbitMQ address. All right, and to create the shop HTTP client, we'll have orders infra product. This is the file that we need to create. All right, here we'll have new HTTP client, and it'll be on os.getEnvironment, and you want to start on shop service address. Sorry, I've written shop twice. All right, and then we'll do now this line may not make sense to you. Don't worry for that right now. In this function, we have to build this function, and this obviously might not make sense to you. Don't worry about it right now. All right, and what I'll do is I'll just create a router quickly. So I'll say r cmd dot create router function, which we have to work on. Create router function, and here we'll say orders. There are some public routes, and there will be some private routes for orders. All right, so orders private underscore HTTP, and here we'll say add routes r comma orders service comma orders repo, and here we'll say dot add routes, add routes r comma orders service comma orders repo. All right, so this one you didn't understand, I know. I'll work on it. We'll work on it in some time, so you'll understand this. But except from this, I think apart from this, everything else is quite straightforward. This function is very straightforward. This function, you're basically waiting for RabbitMQ port, because that's required to talk between the microservices. And this function basically returns your router and a close function, and the router basically is cmd.createRouter. This function also we have to work on, and you're having two types of routes, right? One is public routes and the other is private routes. All right, and once you see those routes, everything will make sense. So here all you have to return is r comma func. This is what you return, and we'll write something in the function. If I write this right now, you might get confused, so for now I'll keep this empty, and there is some little more code that'll come here which will make more sense to you once I start creating the other files. All right, but for now this outline is complete for the orders microservice, and now we can also work on our shop microservice quickly. All right, so in our shop microservice, you're going to have something very similar to your orders microservice. All right, so here you'll say package main import a few things, right? And you'll have your func main, and just like you did for orders, starting the orders microservice, here you're going to say log.println. You're going to say starting the shop microservice. I've already told you why we call this a shop microservice. It's because this has the list of all the products and all the APIs regarding products, so that's why it's called the shop microservice, because this is available to you where you can look at the different products and shop. All right, and once you place the order, that's the orders microservice, so that's different. And here we'll say r is create shop microservice, where S, the H should have been small. Create shop microservice, and to create service. So if you see, we're doing something very similar here. There's no close function, that's it, but R is the same. Like we did create auto microservice, we have create shop microservice, and here we have the server variable. We'll have the server variable here as well. Please note that I'm not copying and pasting because there are some changes here that you'll have to make. So address os.get environment, and here comes the change where you have to say shop service binding address. A has to be capital, shop order, and here you have shop service. I think what I'll do is I'll make it so since it's order, the shop products, I think I'll make it shop products, product service address. I'll say shop product service address. All right, just to remove any confusion, because shop has order and product both. All right, and here we'll have our handler, which is R, similar to this, right? Okay, and again we'll have our go func, our routine, and if error, we're just using this routine to start the server for us. Listen and serve. As you know, to start a server in Golang, only this one line is required, right? This one command is required. That's it. It starts the server on the right port. And if you have this kind of an error, you can say panic. It'll go into panic mode. It'll stop everything. And you can also recover from panic, that we'll handle later on. So this context.done basically looks for a closing event, and closing shop microservice is printed out when we want to gracefully shut down this microservices. Since there are so many microservices running, you don't want to have like a hard shutdown quickly. You want to have like a, you know, a graceful shutdown. That's what we'll build. Okay, so that's complete. Oh no, this should have been, so I've messed up the brackets, really sorry. Just make sure that your go func ends here and your if statement ends here and your main function ends here. Let me check here as well if I've not made the same mistake. This ends here, this ends here, and this ends here. Perfect. So both the brackets are fine now. Now you'll start working on this function, create shop microservice. So create shop microservice star g.mux. Now ideally I should have made the whole monolith program, and then I should have taken you from how to go from monolith to microservice. But what we're doing is we're building them both at the same time. And what I'm doing right now is I'm actually building the microservices before the monolith. The reason for that is once you understand how orders work and how shop works in microservices, we'll bring that whole code together for the monolith, and then you'll be able to compare both of them together, right? I know I should have done it like monolith first and microservice later on, but what that will do is that will really extend our series, and that'll create a lot of repetitive code. That's why I'm you know, doing them at the same time. And in this video particularly, I'm doing microservices before monolith. All right, I hope that makes sense. I'm doing that to reduce the you know, length of this series. I don't want it to last for 20 videos because I know people will drop off in the 5th or 6th video, right? So I wanted to contain within 10 to 11 videos as much as possible, and I want to write as less code as possible and still get the idea across so that you can compare between monolith and microservice, right? I wanted this to be like an engaging kind of a series, something that's more interactive and more you know, entertaining rather than just like a boring project. All right, so here you'll have a function called new memory. Now anything that's to do with shop infra product, right, or like something here that we did orders infra product, anything that's to do with these, don't worry about these right now, because once I build these functions, everything will make more sense to you. all you have to understand right now is that this function starts the server, and this function basically gives you back the router, right, which is chi.marks. And that's what you need to worry about. Don't worry about this line for now. So all you are doing basically is cmd dot create router function you're calling. I think we'll work on that function right now so that everything makes more sense to you. And then you have shop interfaces. You have some public HTTP routes dot add routes, which will be r comma shop product repo, and then there will be some interfaces underscore private underscore HTTP dot add routes, and there will be r comma shop product repo. All right, and you will just return r from here. There's some more code that I want to put here, but I won't, just so you don't get confused right now, right? You don't worry about it right now. And what we can do right now is we can also, since I have about 5 more minutes, we can also work a little bit on the payments outline. So just mind you, these are outlines only. There's some more code that will come, and the orders may not go file and the shop may not go file. All right, so get comfortable with this code for now, and don't forget that we have to work on it later on as well. We'll add some more things. These are just outlines that I'm building right now, and similarly I'm doing an outline for the payments microservice as well, so that at least you're understanding, right, that we're building 3 different things. We're importing something here, there's a func main here, and here, as you know, there's a lot of commonality, right? So here, like we had starting the orders microservice, here we are going to have, as you already know, we'll have log.println, and we'll have starting the payments microservice. All right, and we're going to have, at the end of the function, we want to use defer to print out closing payments microservice once we close it. And similarly, we'll have ctx command cmd dot context with a small t at the end, just like we did here, right? And here we'll have a payments interface. So we'll have payments interface create payments microservice if error is equal to so interface is something that I've not done in my previous videos, right? In my previous projects, I've not used interfaces ever, because these can sometimes confuse people. What I'll do is, in my next video of this series, I'll cover interfaces slightly so that you know what we're doing here, so that's not completely confusing for you. All right, but it's due to some people who have requested that they want me to use interfaces that I'm using it. I don't use it too much actually in my own code, to be honest with you. So payments interface, and here I know it's a cleaner way to write code, but I don't use it. I don't know, and maybe I'm just too lazy to use it. So here you have rabbit mq address. Now there are 2 ways to ensure that other people can work on your project. One is to write very clean code, which I try to, but I'm not big fan of that. I mean, I think you can write messy code and get away with it. The second way to ensure that other people can work with you on your code or project is to document everything really well. So I'm not saying documentation by just putting comments here that this function blah 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 does that. No, I'm saying documentation in the sense like you have your own let's say a Word doc, as simple as a Word doc, right? A Google Word document where you're just placing which function is calling which function, or at least the details of the entire project structure. That I have routes interact with controllers interact with, let's say, model functions, and the model functions interact with the database. So this is how everything is connected. And then there's orders, controller, routes, models, and for payments we have the same thing. So like that kind of documentation, if you have for your project, you can get away with a little messy code. So I'm not a stickler for perfection, to be honest with you. I'm not somebody who says that every code has to be like very well written, it has to be perfect. I don't believe that, because I think right now the world is moving very fast. You have to build products very quickly. Products don't have to work completely fine, they just have to work, and you have to get the product to the market very quick. And so I follow lean, extreme programming and lean methodology by Eric Rai. If you have not read this book called The Lean Startup by Eric Rai, I strongly recommend you do that. And so I believe in writing code really quickly. Really, it can be messy, it can be buggy, it's okay, but put the product into the market first. All right. Otherwise, you can build the best product, the most cleanest product, but nobody's going to use it, and that's the biggest failure that you can go after. Anyhow, that's my philosophy, and that's basically the whole startup and lean methodology thing. Once you get a lot of users, then you start looking for stability in the product, and then that's when you start refining the code more. That's what I believe. All right. But as an MVP or as a prototype, don't even bother writing perfect code. If you're doing it, you're wasting your time and money, and your company's time and money. I have a very strong opinion about that. All right. So you have payments service. So here we'll create this, and new payment service we'll create. So don't worry about it for now. But I have to write some code to at least get the program started. That's why I'm writing it. And here, like I said, we'll have payments infra orders. Anything to do with infra, like in this function as well, anything to do with infra, just don't worry about it right now. Just copy what I'm doing, and in some time we'll work on these functions, so everything will become very, very clear to you, right? If you've done other series of mine, you know that I don't leave you hanging. I always explain, but in the beginning I just need you to trust me and just write a bit along with me, even if you don't understand it, because that's required to at least get the project off the ground, at least some part built, so that we have some outline at least, right? And here we'll have amqp.new payments interface. And what you're getting from here is basically payments interface, comma, error, fmt.sprintf, amqp, %s, comma, os.get environment, shop, RabbitMQ address. So you know that the payments microservice does not have a public facing address, right, or a domain. It just talks to the other microservices through RabbitMQ. So we are just writing some code to make sure that happens. We're just running everything on the queue. And I know I've not explained this to you, how the interfaces are working, or how this microservice is using the RabbitMQ to talk to other services. But don't worry about that. Like I said, it's quite possible that you've never used interfaces in your life before. It's quite possible you've never used microservices in your life before. It's quite possible you've not even used context. It's quite possible that you have no idea how queues like RabbitMQ work, right? So don't worry about that, because I will explain every single thing to you, even if you don't know. Because in these two videos, I at least wanted to at least create some outlines for the codes of these three files, so that next video I can start explaining stuff to you. So you panic and you put an error here. And here all you're doing is returning an interface. So you say payments interface. All right. So from a 10,000 feet perspective, all you need to understand right now, as of now, is that there are three microservices going on. Three microservices with their own three different server addresses. Only payments does not have its own address. It's because payments does not have a user-facing side, right? Only orders and shop have it. So orders run on shop order service binding address, and shop runs on shop product service binding address, like two different port addresses. All right. They both have their own func main. They both have their own create shop microservice and create order microservice functions. Payments also has a func main. It has its own create payments microservice function. And while orders and shop are easy to understand in terms of func main and even this function that easy to understand, there's a few more details that will come here in orders and shop both. But payments will have payments. I'm pretty sure it doesn't make much sense to you, but still I'm hoping you've copied it and you're trying to understand what it means, because in the next video I'll try to explain everything to you. All right, these two I'm sure slightly you might be getting what it means, but payments, it's possible that you don't understand what's happening with the interface, what's happening with the RabbitMQ and all those things, right? And it's completely all right. What I'll do is, since I'm getting late for my next meeting, so what I'll do is I'll just stop this video here. You start wrapping your head around what we've done till now. And the next video, I'll do more explanation and less of writing code, but we'll still try to write some code here and there, but I'll do more of explanation, right? So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. And do subscribe to this channel so that you come to know when the next video of this series comes out. And thank you. See you.